Okay, let's talk about something I'm pretty sure we've all done. You know, when you find yourself lying awake at night just replaying a conversation over and over again, it's super common and honestly pretty frustrating. So today we're going to dive into the psychology behind why our brains just refuse to let things go.
Right? It's late, you are trying so hard to fall asleep, but your brain, it has totally different plans. It decides that now is the perfect time to pull up the full transcript of that chat you had hours ago, or maybe even days ago. Sound familiar?
Or how about this one? You've just left a party, a get-together, whatever, and the entire car ride home turns into this full-blown internal investigation. You start dissecting every joke you told, every comment you made, every slightly awkward pause, just wondering, did I sound okay? Did they get what I meant? Well, there's actually a name for this whole thing. It's called rumination. And it's not just, random overthinking. It's a very specific mental habit loop where your brain gets stuck replaying something because it's desperate to solve some kind of social uncertainty it picked up on. And it turns out there are some really specific psychological reasons this happens. So, let's break it down. We're going to look at the 5 key reasons your brain just can't seem to press stop on that conversation. So, let's kick things off with reason number 1, our brain's deep, deep need for control. Okay, here's the deal. Our brains are basically prediction machines, and if there's one thing they absolutely hate, it's uncertainty. So to try and get a handle on a totally unpredictable future, what do? They replay the past. It's a thing called predictive processing. Your brain is basically thinking, okay, if I can just analyze every little thing that went wrong here, I can write a better script for myself, and I'll be way more prepared next time. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Your brain is trying to rehearse for a life that is, by its very nature, unpredictable. And what's the result? You don't actually feel more prepared, you just feel completely overwhelmed. Now, this intense need for control can often lead straight into our second reason, something called high self-monitoring, basically being a little too aware of yourself. And we're not just talking about regular self-awareness here. High self-monitoring is when you put your own behavior under a microscope. You become hyper-focused on your exact tone of voice, your specific word choices, even your facial expressions. You start zooming in on the tiniest details, like, say, someone taking a few extra seconds to reply to your text, and you blow it up into this huge question about your own self-worth. And what's really important to know is that for some people, this is a learned survival strategy, maybe from a childhood where they were criticized a lot and how to constantly watch themselves to avoid getting in trouble. Which brings us right to reason number 3. This one really gets to the heart of why this whole process feels so, well, useless. We gotta understand the huge difference between healthy reflection and getting totally trapped in the rumination loop. Just think about it like this. Problem solving is like walking down a path. It leads somewhere, to a conclusion, a solution. Rumination, that's a hamster wheel. You are running and running and running, but you're not going anywhere at all. The actual conversation is long gone, but your mind is just stuck right back there in that moment.
All right, reason number 4 is a really fascinating one. It's this idea of filling emotional gaps.
This tends to happen when a conversation in real life felt, confusing or just unfinished. Maybe you walked away feeling like you weren't really heard. So your brain just steps in. It starts creating these little mental simulations, these fake scenarios where you finally feel understood. It's in those mental replays where you come up with the absolute perfect comeback, or you say the exact right thing that finally gets your point across. And yeah, this is super closely linked to anxiety, because it just fuels those endless what-if thought spirals. And that brings us to our 5th and final reason, which honestly gets to the very core of who we are as social creatures, the fear of rejection. See, if you've learned over time that expressing your true thoughts and feelings isn't always safe, your brain might just adopt a totally different strategy. It tells you to stay quiet in the moment and then do all the heavy lifting, all the processing internally after everything is over. Replaying the conversation becomes your way of fixing what you said, of checking for any little misstep that could have possibly damaged a relationship. It's really an attempt to manage the huge social risks that come with trying to connect with people in real time. So after hearing all that, it might sound like your brain is your own worst enemy, right? But what if we looked at it from a different angle? What if this isn't self-sabotage? What if it's just a flawed protection plan? And this is the most important takeaway of all. Your brain isn't trying to torture you. It's not being malicious. It is, in its own kind of clumsy, misguided way, trying to protect you. It's trying to shield you from uncertainty, from criticism, from emotional loose ends, and from rejection. It's just not very good at it.
And that realization is everything. Seeing this as a protective instinct and not some personal flaw, that's the real first step to making a change.
Because once you can actually see the pattern for what it is, once you get the why behind all the rumination, you finally gain the power to interrupt it. You can start to recognize when that little protective instinct is kicking in and gently, redirect your thoughts, knowing that, hey, not every delayed text message is some secret code about your self-worth.
So I'll just leave you with this question to mull over. Now that you're armed with this knowledge, with this new understanding of your own internal protector, what part of this whole pattern will you choose to see differently the next time you catch your mind starting to press rewind?